Hi, guys. Heard some of you were already here waiting for me. Hello, hello. Looks like there's three of us here, so whoever else has joined, please come on in and say hi. We're dressed for Halloween. We've got the tiara and the sparkly sparklies. I figured I might as well go in style. Gonna give it just a moment or two. Oh, actually, no, I see more people jumping in. So why don't we start? What the hey? Let me get this here. I hope everyone is having a wonderful All Hallows Eve and enjoying your time. See, it always does that. I'm right by the microphone. Silliness. Okay. Hi. What have y'all been doing today? I made an apple pie. I went to the farmer's market. I made an apple pie. I roasted some root vegetables. Took a long nap because I needed it. Booked another stay for Disney in January. And yeah, I just have been busy because my goal is to try to get to all of the Epcot festivals. I've done Food and Wine. I've done Flower and Garden. I've done the Festival of the Holidays, and we'll be going back to see the new version of that. And all that's left is Festival of the Arts. So it goes from January 8th, I believe, through February 22nd. It's a short one. So I will be going there in late-ish January. So it'll be on for a little bit, but hasn't been going crazy at that point. So we'll see, and it'll be nice for me to see the difference I've never done the parks in January, so it'll be nice to see what that's all about. It's just going to be, oh, thank you for the like, whoever threw that in there. Yeah, so that's where I'm headed with that. I decided to be a little, this is old Columbina. Made this shirt myself, actually. And newer Columbina, something old, something new. Nothing borrowed, but lots of blue. All right, so scary stories from Disney and Universal and scary rides and scary things. So WN, one of the other sites, WDW News, I believe is the site. They do a whole lot of stuff, and they were actually talking about the scariest attractions and ranking them from Disney. So I'm going to start. We're actually going to start with Universal. Cats are saying boo. Cats are hiding. Actually, they've gotten their food. They don't need me anymore right now. So we're going to start with Universal because the big thing at Universal is Halloween Horror Nights, or HHN as they call it. This would have been the 25th anniversary, and of course, because of COVID, the big celebration did not happen. What they did end up doing was opening 2 haunted houses with social distancings that were their own IP. The Revenge of the Tooth Fairy, in which a little boy does not want to give up his teeth to the Tooth Fairy, and the Tooth Fairy is upset about it, so the Tooth Fairy comes and rips out the teeth of everybody else in the household and turns the little boy into a Tooth Fairy as well. And the Tooth Fairies are not like Tooth Fairy, they're like Tooth Fairy. So that was the one. The other was The Bride of Frankenstein. Oh, and someone went over what the storyline of it is. It morphed in with a number of the different stories. If anyone who was at HHN this year and has seen that story, if you can throw a quick description in, because at this point it's over for this year, so it's not like I'd be giving you a spoiler, because if you're not there right now, you aren't going to see it. I think tomorrow is the last day. And then they just announced, and I saw it, but I haven't read much about it, the surprise pop-up haunted house for the next 2 days, just today and tomorrow, is Beetlejuice, because he was supposed to be the guide and host for this year's show. I will, what is this? I'm going from the 10th to the 13th and the 14th to the 18th at Universal recommendations. Okay. So have you gotten your park passes for Disney yet? And are I'm assuming you mean November. 18th. Okay, good. All right. So give me your parks in order of what you're doing and what time you arrive. And then how many days are you doing? All right, first, wait, before you type anything, how many days are you doing Universal? You've got 10, 11, 12, 13. So you got 1 day. 5 days at Universal? Oh, good Lord. Okay. Take some downtime and hang out. Expect to be staying at your resort. You could get through pretty much everything at Universal in 2 days, maybe 3, if you really wanted to get into every nook and cranny, especially if you got a park to park. So yeah, it is a big deal. Are you staying on property there? If you can throw that out. Staying on property or not for Universal or for Disney, just like, and you can say D or US. Yes, at both. Okay, great. So you're doing Disney first. So let's start with Disney. For Disney, I'm hoping you're arriving early on the 10th and you are hitting which park? And I'm now going to pull up the hours. You get to watch how my brain works. Woo! And if people have other questions for me to throw in here, let me know. Yes, about Pleasant was going to the... Oh, you're going to watch spaceship launch. Okay, good. Is that one of the first 4 days or the last 4 days? I don't know which day the spaceship launch is. The good thing with Disney is they've extended their hours as of recently. So you will be able to get in earlier or staying later. So you said the 13th to the 18th. No, the 10th to the 13th. Yes? Sorry. 10th to the 13th. Okay, so you got till 8, till 9. Those are normal-ish hours. Okay. The last day you are there, you have pretty tremendous hours for all of the parks. And actually, the Thursday and the Friday, the hours pick up. So I'd be curious as to what park is with. This is important, but I would also like to continue with it. Okay. All right. Well, Patrick, you and I can also chat about this afterwards. And if we circle back, we can do that. Sorry about that there, Mr. Drew. All right. So Beetlejuice is only going to be there through November 1st. It's just a two night Halloween horror night house. And it's, from what I can tell, it's down over by the E.T. Woody Woodpecker area, wherever those pop-up houses are. Whereas the others, one was over by Rip Roaring Rocket. That was the Bride of Frankenstein. And over in the New York area was the Tooth Fairy one. I have not heard from anyone specifically. I haven't seen anything about like anyone walking through and saying what the story was like. But what they did is they did social distancing, where like there were plexiglass areas in front of openings where you would expect a scare actor to jump out, but they did it well enough that you still got scares. They also did it so that you got to stay and watch a scene and be part of the scene, and the next group didn't come in until you moved on. So you have a lot more enjoyment, I guess. I don't like being scared. That's my thing. I am not fond of Magic Kingdom the 10th and 13th. Okay. You're not doing Animal Kingdom or Hollywood Studios at all? Throw that in the comments and we'll come back to it. Patrick can have his advice. No. I will, and Patrick and I can touch base about this separately. So it's okay if we circle around, because it is Halloween, but I will get back to that too. And it may keep scattering through the conversation over here. So, yeah, so it's just a 2-day pop-up that they said, because Beetlejuice was supposed to be the host of this year. Like every year they have a host. But they're not doing street scares. It's just the haunted houses. It's not super late hours. I know a lot of the parks have started extending their hours in November for sure. And they are extended up through December 30th. Like you'll see the hours have started to expand. New Year's Eve, no park is open after 8 p.m. And it might even be 7 p.m. They're all closing early. Disney Springs is the only place that seems to have any activity. I have gotten a dining reservation for 9:15 that evening, because my friend and I are, wow, that's dusty and awful. Sorry. The things you find in the wrinkles of a chemise. So yeah, so it's going to be very interesting. But back to scary stuff. So Halloween Horror Nights. I don't like being scared. I'm not going to jump into. I wouldn't do it. Now I have a friend. Some of you may know. Goes by the nickname of the White Dragon, who loves horror. So he did go to HHN with Mike of Jen and Mike. For those of you who do know Jen and Mike. and they loved it. They thought it was great. That was last year, not this year, where they got to go into multiple haunted houses. There was a Stranger Things house. There were all these different IPs that they were using, and yeah, and they had a terrific time. They had an absolutely terrific time, and I'm not doing, no, no, no. Because one of the things you will notice, and I will say I am guilty of this as well as a performer. For those of you who've done the Kong, the King Kong ride, you will, if you walk the line for the King Kong ride, not the quick line, but the regular line, you will see these people who look like cannibalistic natives coming out and trying to scare you while you're walking the line. Or sometimes they're just sitting in the line and staring at you, looking scary with like very, very, very dark makeup with these glowing eyes. And it's once you scream once, they follow you because it's fun. And as a performer, I know if you get a reaction from a laugh, a cry, a scream, whatever that reaction is that you are trying to incite out of an audience member, and you know that person's going to be doing that reaction, your energy focuses in on that person because you know they'll feed everybody else. So it's I love the line. I wish the old ride was still there. Then again, I love the smell of banana. Yeah, the banana. You always joked about the banana runts, and I can't say that the new ride has that. Although that animatronic, when you take your the 3D glasses off, go and look at that animatronic, just the head. It's phenomenal. Like because the 3D glasses make it just a hair blurry because you're focusing the other stuff. But if you take them off and you look at that, it's like it's a damn good animatronic. It's like really impressive. So things that are scary. I mean, a lot of Universal is scary all the time. Most of the roller coasters, for me, are scary all the time. You know, the Rip Roaring Rocket going straight down. For those of you who have been to Universal, what was your scariest experience there? I'd be curious if you have a tale to tell. And then while we're looking for those, we'll start talking about Disney rides and Disney scares. Before I forget to do before I move on, just as a reminder, if you guys have not done so already, please remember to subscribe to the channel. When you look below, you will see the word subscribe or subscribed. If you have the D next to it, you've already done it. If you haven't, please go ahead and subscribe. I am trying to get to 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. As I explained to some other people on Facebook, it allows me to ask you guys in advance what topics you guys want me to talk, because I can do polls and I can message you guys as a group, my subscribers, through YouTube. It won't like be hunting you down. I can also live stream, which I would love to be able to live stream directly into YouTube when I'm on the road and let you see the stuff that I'm seeing in the parks directly. The way I kind of can do on some of the Facebook chats, but that way it's all kind of in the same world and people can go to the same place to see it. So yes, so if you guys can, I really would love it if you could subscribe and join in. And if you do want to support the channel, I'm trying to get a GoPro so I can do underwater stuff or rain weather stuff, which I don't have a GoPro. There's a PayPal and a Ko-fi link down below, and if you want to throw some support that way, that would be amazing. And if you can't, that's okay. The content is here. Stay and enjoy and chat, and let's get back to the fun stuff. So, Little Kender, welcome. My boyfriend almost puking on you in The Simpsons. Oh God. Oh, that's horrible. I mean, I'm going to laugh because, oh, dear God, it's kind of funny and horrible at the same time. So The Simpsons, I end up keeping my eyes closed for a lot of it. And sometimes it's okay. And sometimes it shakes me up too much, depending on what's going on for me. So at what point in the ride did this happen? Did he throw up by the end of it? And I'm guessing the almost means you got out alive, but you weren't sure you were going to make it out of the ride. So I would love a little more of that tale. Yikes. I have gotten very, very well. I almost lost it on the Hagrid ride this year. I have discovered that going backwards and I do not get along. So do not get along, and got off the ride and went off to the side to try to stabilize myself for a second because, well, the other problem is at that point they were allowing you to wear neck gaiters, which they really aren't now. But with the neck gaiter, it covers your nose, but it also covers your entire neck, so you don't feel breeze. And the problem for me with going backwards in the dark is you see movement, but you don't quite feel it. And with the neck gaiter covering all of the skin on the back of my neck, I didn't even get the breeze. So I really didn't feel any of it, and everything's whirring by, and I'm in the sidecar seat. You sit really securely in there, so I couldn't even turn to get my head around to say, all right, now I can see what's happening. Oh, yeah. So got off the ride, made it out of the ride, made it out to where I was supposed to go get my picture tag in, and then went and crawled behind some trees and some mulch because I was not successful. I did lose the little bit I had for breakfast that morning. And then it took about another 2.5 hours before my stomach settled down enough. I was fighting it. I was trying not to do it. I finally ended up having to go to first aid and just lay there for a little bit, let my stomach settle. It was bad. It was so bad. But I will tell you, if you do not have motion sickness, oh my God, it was really an amazing ride. It was on that level and line of, oh dear God, no, I really can't do this ride. And if it hadn't gone backwards, I would have ridden it again. I would have said, this is the top of my limit. It's awesome though. It's like the fastest ride I think they have there. It doesn't go upside down. It doesn't, it goes sideways, but it goes really fast. And I just screamed and laughed as much as I could, and backwards just killed me. So, Simpsons, red tips from a motion sickness sufferer. Yes, not so much, but she and I had a medal-winning glimpse of the Minions ride based on her. Oh, well, thank you. Yeah. So if you want to experience the Minions ride and you have motion sickness, the Despicable Me thing, and it's a great way to cut the line too. If you just want to see it and you don't need to be shaken all up and down, ask them for the non-moving seats. And there's the very front row of the ride, and you don't get the glasses anymore, but you can sit in the front row and everyone behind you is shaking in their cars and you just get to watch it. And I still got a little dizzy from the 3D, so I could close my eyes a little bit, but it was much more enjoyable. It was, being on a ride and not sure you're going to make it off the ride is definitely scary, Kendra. That's really awful. I didn't realize how bad his motion sickness was. He did manage to hold it together, but he sat down on the floor as soon as the ride ended. I think that was his last ride for the day. Oh, okay. Yeah, when I did Rock and Roller Coaster and Tower, did I do on separate days? I did Tower of Terror, and I was shaking so badly. This is back to Disney. So badly. I had tears streaming down my... All right, let's do the scary rides at Disney, because we can start with Tower of Terror. So I was going to challenge myself. I like to try every ride once. Now, I have learned since then, you can't do that. There are certain rides I just can't do. Just no. So Tower of Terror. Now, for those of you who have been to Disneyland, since they did the transition, the Guardians of the Galaxy ride is the version over there. And the Guardians of the Galaxy one, people have said if you've ridden both, they don't get sick or have as much stomach lurching or anything over on Guardians of the Galaxy's Mission Breakout. And I was listening to one of the Imagineers talk about the design of it compared to Tower of Terror, and it makes perfect sense to me. Tower of Terror is literally a tower of terror. You're supposed to be scared in it. The screams should be happening. It's not a whoa, it's a ah, that's why it's randomized. That's why you get the scary music, the Twilight Zone music. That's why you get all that crazy stuff that goes along. So everything sets you up to be scared, and then the way the ride runs is supposed to scare you. Whereas Guardians of the Galaxy is a comedy. So the timing is more regular, and you get these scenes that are about to make you laugh before drops happen. So it is set up with comedy timing versus terror timing or horror movie timing. So it was very specifically set up that way. It's very cool. So Tower of Terror. So I went on the Tower of Terror in 2002. But I did it once. Went on the ride. I went up in advance to the guy at the front of the line, the cast member there, and said, I'm not really great at at Heights, and I wanted to find out if there was any way I could see all of the pre-show, because it had been described to me and it sounded amazing. Is there any way I can see all of the show scene stuff without actually having to do the falls, and do the up and downs? He went, well, you could step out right at that point, but that's one big drop down that I don't think you're going to like. And I was like, thanks, that's great, thank you so much. So I sucked it up and I went in, and I get in line, and as you're going through, you go into the room where they have the this is the Twilight Zone with Rod Serling's an actor doing Rod Serling's voice, lip syncing over original Rod Serling video, which they did some detail animation with the mouth, so it looked like he was saying what they put in. Very cool stuff. David S. Pumpkin shaking tambourine. Oh my God. So somebody is live streaming at Magic Kingdom today, one of the other groups I follow. And there is a David S. Pumpkin walking around the center of the castle in the hub right now. It was fabulous. He was watching the guy take pictures and stuff, which just makes me laugh. So back to Tower of Terror. So I'm in line. There are these like 11-year-olds in front of me and 2 Australian 13-year-olds behind me. Like, oh, this is great. You love it. Yeah, it's fine. Yeah, you'll be fine. It's easy. You'll like it a lot. I'm like, great. These kids are like, I'm like, before I go in, and the kids are great. So you go in, you sit down. Now at that point, they did lap bars, and there was one person in the middle that got a seatbelt, and I was so grateful I didn't get the seatbelt, which I found out now everyone gets seatbelts. It is probably more secure. Doesn't feel it to me, but that's okay. And then it is, by the way, I like your tiara. Thank you. Well, this is standard Columbina. This was my tiara fairy gift, which I figured it went with. And this is what I've worn when I go to the parks, the tiara I wear at parks. Glint, 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 glint. So we get in, I'm in the back row, and you do the ride, and it's like, that's really cool, and you see the people and they disappear into a dot, and there's actually some great videos. You can see the mechanics of the different levels and the elevator doors closing that take you to different floors to go to different, which I didn't realize, even having only written it once, but I hadn't realized. And hello, Brandon. All right, Drew, can you help out? So the dropping and rising and stuff is, thank you. It came with the face. Anyway, so Tower of Terror. So we get up to the final drop, we move in, and then it starts its random dropping. And I am shaking so badly. I put because you couldn't have loose items, I had the map of the park, and I'd had it like between my legs, because I was just like, all right, let me just leave it there. I was shaking so badly, my feet were literally shaking this far off the ground. Like I could feel them bouncing up and down. Tears were streaming down my face. I was absolutely and utterly freaked out. And yeah, it was bad. It was really bad. I went into the shop because I was never going to ride the ride again. And I got something that was like, I rode the Tower of Terror, and that was it. It was done. Thank you, Drew. It was fabulous. It was not nearly that fun at all, but thanks. Okay. So it was pretty scary, Carolyn. It was pretty scary. I'm afraid of heights. I'm not afraid of heights. I'm afraid of falling from heights. And because it's so randomized, you just don't know what's going to happen. It's just scary. You just don't know. And that's the way that Disney designed it. The Imagineers designed it so that you have that kind of moment of what the hell's going to happen next. So that was, and then I followed it by attempting to do Rock and Roller Coaster, which I didn't realize corkscrewed and spun upside down. I was done. I got a bubbly soda, went back to my room, and just like, that was the end of that day. Yeah, I don't know, Carolyn. Because it's a live chat, anyone can jump in, and they're now gone, which is why I have a moderator, so I can keep talking to you while he deals with it. Give Drew a round of applause for being amazing. Thank you, sir. Does it help report jerks? Well, no, actually, yeah, you can report them. You should be able to report them. Drew is blocking them from the channel, so they should not be able to comment, or they may not even be able to review it, but they definitely can't comment anymore. But let's not give them that energy, It's Caroline, not Carolyn. Oh, I'm terribly sorry. I'm sorry, Caroline. Let me fix this. Please report the jerks. Yes, thank you. And the big thrill rides. Yeah, some of the thrill rides are just scary. All right, so let's go back. So yeah, so that was my terror of that ride. So my personal experience is that's one of the scariest ones for me. However, and I will agree with Tom Corliss from WDW Today News that to me the scariest ride that Disney ever did, it was so scary that they stopped offering it because too many parents complained that it was too scary because they went, oh, this will be fun, let's bring my kid. And it's nightmarish. Was the Alien Terrestrial that used to be in Tomorrowland, got replaced with Stitch, which was worse, but yeah. Oh, oh, that's fine. Glad you can see it. That's thrilling. Like I said, usually just each scene once a day so I can hit them all. It don't scare me. It- all right. Stitch is regrettable. Yeah, Stitch is no fun. We have no enjoyment from Stitch. Uh, the I mean, and that one's actually gone too. They've pretty much closed that down. But the Alien Terrestrial was set up so that, and if you've watched the Stitch ride, it was kind of similar. The attraction where you go into this one main room, you talk about how they're gonna take you somewhere to for this experience, but they end up deciding that they're going to bring something to you, and something else gets caught in the stream of what they're bringing, and then there's this you're all sitting in a room. You've got like shoulder harness on you, which you don't quite understand, kind of like light pressure, and you eventually realize why. Um, but this big tube is in the center and everything goes dark, and then you sort of see the alien, and then it goes black again, and you hear the sound of one of the people who's in the room and crunching noises as you feel water. Well, you don't know it's water splattering on you with these screams of ah, and you feel wet, and it's like, oh my god, it would have been blood, if it was a real person. And it was just disturbing. uh I've never been outside of Ontario. Ontario is in the yeah, thank you, Mr. Tom. Ontario is a lovely place, actually. I've been to Guelph because there was a Renaissance festival up there. Hopefully, you will, when all of this is over, have the chance to come on down and visit all of this because it is kind of fun. While we are talking about the scarier moments and the scarier things in the parks, there's a little bit of something for everybody. Whether you do Universal for the more adult version of stuff or Disney for the more gentler, kinder versions of stuff, they still have their thrill rides. But they don't do a whole lot of the really crazy stuff. So back to the Alien Terrestrial. Doesn't exist anymore, Patrick. I am sorry. But after you hear the crunching blood sound and the screams, and there are pre-made screams like, no, don't make any noise, it'll make things worse. And then you hear screams and you realize eventually they're pumped in, because I did get to see it at least 2 or 3 times. But then you feel like pressure on your shoulders from that thing, which is as if the alien was like standing on your shoulders or right behind you, pressing on your shoulders, and you hear the breath, you feel the breath on the back of your neck, and you're like, oh my God. And of course, everyone's feeling it, but you still get that, don't breathe, don't move. Oh my God. And then eventually they get it back into the tube and it goes away and blah, blah, blah. But oh man, it was awesome. It was a theatrical experience that was terrifying, in the best positive possible way. Well, it became Stitch's Great Escape after that. And the version with Stitch, they tried to do the same thing, and Stitch shows up in the tube and goes black. Instead of blood, I know at some point you smell cheeseburger fart, chili farts. They do that all the time. That's stupid. It's the smell where it's like their skunk smell is the same smell they use for the chili cheeseburger fart smell. Ew. That's all I got to say is just ew. And I love the fact that I know when it's happening because I go, oh, here it comes. And I will hold my breath until we leave that area or it moves away enough because it's just disgusting. I do. Stitch is cute. Being splashed with water was gross. Yes, and the smells, they were awful. So yeah, so I mean, Stitch itself, that particular experience, I'd never seen the movie prior to that time. I have since seen it. Don't remember much because I was getting something drilled into my thumb at the time from in an ice urgent care. Long story, but yeah. And they also, what I was told from people who even liked Stitch, is that Stitch was still kind of scary in this because he's breaks out of the cage and he's running around and cheeseburger farting and all this stuff. So it was, it was not a pleasant experience by any stretch. So, well, hopefully, Caroline, you can. You give yourself some time, invest. But it would be lovely to have you join us. Okay, so yes, so Alien Terrestrial, to me, scariest ride, scariest ride in all the parks, just to me. But I loved it. That was one I would sit through, and I would sit through again and again and again. The other ones that people were mentioning that were scary. And this one, I didn't think it was scary necessarily, but then I realized, no, yeah, I remember kids screaming and being pretty afraid of this. It's A Bug's Life, which is inside the Tree of Life in Animal Kingdom, and you get shrunk into the size of a bug. Now, when you're outside the theater, oh my God, this is, yay. Oh, Terry, yay. Come on in. Hi. Thank you for the love. Hey, perfect timing. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you're enjoying the show, please remember to give me the thumbs up by hitting the little thumb down at the bottom down there. Bottom down there. No, yeah, down there. If hit the bell notification icon and subscribe if you want to follow along and get notifications when new chats are coming out. If you have any additional questions or things you would like to know, please let me know. If you would like to donate to help me get a GoPro so I can do more water-based recording type stuff, then go ahead and visit my Ko-fi page or my PayPal page. You do not have to, but I would love the support. And if not, that's okay too. And woo! All right, so back to the fun stuff. We were talking about the scary ride. It's A Bug's Life. So when you're at Bug's Life, you sit down theater. You get shrunk to the size of a bug, and the lobby of the theater is, oh my God, hysterical for anybody who's a theater person. They do, like, instead of a chorus line, it's a cockroach line. Annie becomes Auntie, I think. But they basically take famous Broadway musical posters and redo them with bugs in the titles and things. It's hysterical. It's hysterical. So I highly recommend, just when it's post-COVID and you can walk around more freely, reading all of those signs in the lobby while you're waiting to go in. And then you sit down and it starts being okay. And yes, you get another one of those stinky, smelly, yucky sections in there, but you get enough warning that it's going to happen, that the stink bug is going to blow, so you can hold your breath. But then the bad guy cockroach character shows up, starts to threaten everyone, and he shows up as like an 8-foot animatronic, big, and he tells, hornets or wasps or hornets, go ahead and sting them all, and suddenly in your back you start feeling pokes at your back. And it goes pitch black for part of it. And then it's spiders, throw them in your web or something like that. And these big spiders start coming down from the ceiling, and they've got like the Black Widow mark on the back of their heads. And the spiders, I mean, they're significant, you're supposed to be a tiny bug. So these things are huge. And I was like, wow, if I was really afraid of spiders, this would suck. This would suck so bad. And yeah, you have to warn kids. Some of them will get pretty scared in that one. It's in fact, we went with an 11-year-old and she was actually not happy with that, but luckily she was with us when all of that was happening. And then at the very end, right before you leave, they tell the bugs to leave before you leave, and you'll feel little things bump under your butt, which is hysterical. Now, as an adult and as someone who's not terrified of bugs, to me, it was a lot of fun. But if you're not expecting that, it's scary. Very scary. Blech. Water. So, since it's been, you need another. My mom's got more Afghans. She still has the other ones I showed you. In fact, I need to go try to pick one up. But I'm glad you like that, and let me, you can talk to me offline if there's something you want specific. And as long as it's not squares that have to be attached together, she'll do it. Since it's been gone so long, I remember being a little scared at the body virtual ride in Animal Kingdom starring Rick Moranis. In Animal Kingdom? Are you thinking Body Wars, or are you thinking Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, which was Hollywood Studios? or Honey, I Shrunk the Audience, which was Hollywood Studios and then at Disneyland as well. Clarify that for me, sir, because I think the only thing Rick Moranis did was the Honey, I Shrunk the Audience. And then Body Wars was Epcot, and that's now where Mission Space is, I believe. And I never got to see that one, but I know you were down there before when I was not. Haunted Mansion is another one that might scare some little ones. Yes, I was at age 7 the first time I went to the park, terrified of Haunted Mansion. Hold on. It's one of my favorites because as a fan of the genre, it's campy jaunt through the fun aspects. Now, to me, as a kid, I mean, the first section and most of the first section is the scary part of it, and then it becomes campy at the end and fun at the end. And they did that so that you don't leave as scared as when you came in. Excuse me. But for me, the scariest moment in that, and it still creeps me out, is the clock that says 13, and it's got the one hand that keeps moving, and then you see the claw shadow that goes across it. Scares the bejesus out of me every time I see it. Just I mean, it's not a jump scare, but it's like I have that image in my nightmares coming up. It's bleh. But it's the Rolly Crump was the one who did the funny stuff, and Extencio, I believe, was the one who did the scary stuff, or maybe it was the other way around. These are two of the Imagineers who helped design it. Did I get the park wrong? Body Wars sounds right. So Body Wars was in Epcot, and that used to be Mission Space area. Animal Kingdom was built much later. Animal Kingdom, really, all of the rides and all the experiences have been about animals and nature. I mean, even Pandora's technically about an animal and nature. Just a fantasy version of it. But yeah, all of them are. But yeah, so I remember as a 7-year-old, terrified of the Haunted Mansion. Absolutely terrified. Lizzie, who did the trip with us last Christmas, was as a child, a younger child, I think she was 5 or 6. Yeah, she had to get out of the line. She couldn't even from the pre-show with the stretching walls into the hallway, and she's like, I can't do it, and was upset that she was keeping other people from enjoying it. So her big thing was she wanted to experience it now. So the three, normally, we would try to split up in 2s and 3s, or 2s and 2s for the rides. For that one, was that the one I did? No, I did a second. I think the first time I did it by myself and let the 3 of them go in one together because she wanted that support. So, they're scary, but like the last scene is very tongue in cheek. But truthfully, if you're really already scared, you barely come out of that when you come out of the ride. The graveyard scene, which has the happy music and everything. No. Other scary rides. We're going to go back to Animal Kingdom for one more that I, again, was thinking, well, it's not too bad. And then I went, no, it's really scary, actually. Dinosaur. For those of you on the Californian coast or who have been to Disneyland, it is the same track as the Indiana Jones ride, but it is same track as the it's a totally different story. It is a story of you going back in time to the Cretaceous period, right before a meteor storm hits that's going to decimate everything to try to save an iguanodon. And whether or not you're going to get there, you're going to make it. Okay. And if you watched this week's video that I released from Magic Kingdom, and you see the Jungle Cruise section, there are 2 lines. I laughed out loud heavily at the second one he did, but the guy who was running our ride was slipping in quotes from the dinosaur ride. He was like, I'm your swim instructor. Well, I'm your guide. You're this, you're that, and one heck of a paleontologist, if I do say so myself, which I didn't catch the first time through. But when I was re-listening to it, because I caught the later dinosaur reference he made, I burst out laughing. I was like, "Oh my God, it's one of the lines out of Dinosaur." Just makes me happy. But it is mostly in the dark. There looks like streaks of things are flashing. There are dinosaurs that are rah at you. When I went on this ride, and I'm trying to remember, I think it was Lance who was with me at that point. we went on the ride, and this little kid was a little bit scared about it. He was sitting next to daddy, or she was sitting next to daddy. And I said, so this, I'm going to give you a trick that I learned when I get scared. Either laugh really loudly or just scream and just get it out, and just make that noise because it helps you. And she was okay. And she was doing all right. And then the ride froze right when we were at the Carnosaurus. Carnosaurus is the carnivorous human-eating dinosaur going over your car. And that's where we stopped. And the poor little girl is curled up as much as she can be, because you're strapped into your own seatbelt, onto daddy, crying. I felt so bad. It was like, oh no, this is awful. This is so bad. No. It was a very sad moment. It was a very, very, very sad moment. So, boo hiss. Very boo hiss. Returning to Universal and my thoughts. What about Mummy? Mummy is, yeah, I mean, for a certain age range, I think Mummy is definitely scary. You've got the mummies and you've got that fire room. I was more concerned about my nausea at that moment to take a lot of those details in. But if you watch it on YouTube and you see the scenes from, someone who does POV of it, yeah, it definitely is. It can be kind of scary. To me, my favorite moment of that entire ride, and it wasn't just because it was the end of the ride, was the moment where the very end, Brendan Fraser's like, being the snotty actor of, yeah, and I know, and here you're all enjoying this, and can I at least get a cup of coffee? He's like, he comes off as this like snotty, jerky actor, and then you see a skeleton coming in holding the cup of coffee, and he screams. It made me so happy. It was really funny. It made me very happy. Oh, we weren't scared, but showed the story of the raptor experience. I've said this one before, but I love it. Okay. So if you haven't heard this before, tell me if you would like to hear the raptor experience story. It was Christmas 2016, I think, is when we did this. And Drew and I met some people in line and convinced them that the raptor was real. If you would like the full detail, please say so in the comments. The other scary experience that actually one of my other cohorts said was the experience of slipping and falling in one of the restaurants. Now, I've slipped and fallen on my elbow in Mythos when it was wet out and damaged my elbow. Full details. All right. Patrick wants details. We're going to give you all details. So, Universal, there is an experience called the Raptor Experience. And go, Patrick, go. It is a photo op. They cannot take your camera, so you can either pre-buy, especially if you're doing 5 days, you might want to do it to buy their photo package. And then you get like an 8x10 and maybe a couple 5x7s, and it might be like $100 to do it. But you can go up to any of the their photographers, and they will take pictures. There's also in the dark room in Universal Studios, you can actually stand in front of backgrounds and take some fun pictures. If you go to the Universal vlogs that I did just this past year in June, the sound quality is horrible. I'm sorry, but if you go to the other stuff from the videos, you'll see, I think on the last day, you'll see the pictures I posted that are from that whole experience, which was a hoot. And you'll get ride photos on some of the rides. There's not a ton of ride photos, but they do have a few. Okay, so I wanted to go to the raptor encounter. I had heard about it. It's a photo op. You meet the raptor. Ooh, it's like, this is going to be fun. And Drew had a prior experience with something that he thought was similar, but it was not. It was you stood with a triceratops, and he was just like, do you really want to do that? I'm like, yeah, this looks really cool. I'm like, all right, fine. So he went off to get water or something and was going to come back and meet me in line, but I was doing it. I was making this happen. So he eventually comes up there, and there's a mother and either her aunt, her partner, her friend, and their probably 10-year-old kid. And they're in line behind us. And, it is just a photo op, technically. It's a really cool photo op, but it's just a photo op. And we're standing in line and waiting, and she's like, "So what are we doing?" I said, "Oh, well, you get to meet a live raptor." Really? I was like, "Oh yeah, yeah, you get to meet a live raptor." And just kind of left it. I thought, okay. And then they were like, "Oh, it's feeding time. We have to send the raptors back to get fed, but in about 10 minutes, their sister was going to come out, and you guys will all be able to see more." And Drew, not a triceratops. It was a placid vegan dinosaur. Oh, the Stegosaurus. Okay. So a lot of people leave the line, so we start moving up even faster. We are now the second group in the line, and there's a team member. They call them team members. They're not cast members of the line, and he's like, this is a photo op. You'll be able to meet a dinosaur where they're getting feeding now. And she's like, wait, so we're feeding them now? It's like, well, yeah. It's like, so what do they feed them? And Drew and I are like, well, I mean, live animals, cows, sheep, I mean, wait a minute. They put them in with a live cow? Like the live cow gets put in there? Well, yeah, because I mean, so we just start riffing. Well, yeah, because they're not going to go in. They're not going to attack. It's not like, you can give them a steak. They need that hunt. They need the kill because that's what they were trained for. That's their instinct. So they have to put a live creature in there for them to be able to hunt and kill it. Oh, but that's awful. Oh no, it's not bad. It's like, like when a snake or a cat, someone like picks up a mouse or thing and they shake it really hard and it cracks the neck immediately. And so they really don't feel pain. By the time they eat them, it's going to be dead. But that's part of what they do. And say, oh, wow. And then I turn to the cast member, because we've been going on a little graphically about how this thing is going to be eaten. And I say to the cast member, the team member, "I'm sorry, if I'm speaking out of turn, please let me know it." "No, that's pretty accurate." And then he went away. So he's left us. We now have another 8 to 10 minutes. And we start talking about the feeding habits of the animals. And we start explaining, how they're all female because they're from the same genetic chromosome. So they didn't have a Y, so they're all female. But those were really the hunters, and, and then what the nature is. And we're going into great detail, and they're just like, well, then the break ends. And the new one is coming out. The alarms are going off because the new dinosaur is coming out, and they start bringing us in on the line. And the group in front of us goes, and then they warn us, now, if you're wearing red, or, if you have red on you, please be aware that that is a color that's going to excite them. Also, if you're female, please don't make eye contact. They consider that aggression. Going on and on. And I'm your guy, Terry. Send me an RFP. Awesome. Oh, I'm missing a whole conversation here. All right. Earlier show, it was a weird meet the peaceful dinosaurs and love them kind of theme. Renfair riffing? Gotta have a response. Try to make it witty and stylish without breaking character. Renfair. Okay, it was Renfair. Yeah. Just kind of going on that, staying within the world and filling out the reality. I know who to call if I need an assistant producer, director, concierge. There you go. All right. Sorry. So you guys are having your own fun there. Let me get back to the story. So so it's, we do our turn. I'm like, oh, I can't make eye contact, and then posing. And she, of course, tries to go for us, and we run away, etc. So we had a great time. It's hysterical. And then when we start to leave, and Drew says, "No, wait." I said, "What? No, we're done." He's like, No. Wait. What? And then it was their turn. So the friend and other person is okay with going up. And mom is a little leery about going up. But the 10-year-old, he's crying. He's screaming, "No, I don't want to do it." He is hiding behind the photographer because he doesn't want to get eaten by the dinosaur. And the mom is now not sure she wants to do it. So the handler says, "No, I'll pose with you because, she's used to my smell. So you should be fine." And, put the arms up and send them around. And they're both standing. And I'm going to go profile so you can sort of see this. So she's standing like this with their bodies here. Okay. So she's not quite touching them, but she's semi-visible, but behind them so that they can have the experience. And then when they're starting to get ready to pose, she backs up and gets out of it, and the dinosaur head comes between them. At this moment, the little boy is now screaming bloody murder. No, Mom, run! It's gonna eat you! It's coming for you! No! Screaming, crying, horrified because Mom was gonna get eaten. And we were both on the ground laughing. Because that child now fully believes that it met a real dinosaur that was going to eat its mom's head. You know, that's the memory that kid is going to have, is that in his youth, he met a real dinosaur and it was going to eat his head. He's going to eat his mom's head. But she didn't, the dinosaur, she was nice. She didn't do it. It was so funny and so horribly cruel. At the same time, it was so funny. But the cast member could have corrected us. He could have said, let's let the scientists tell them about that or whatever. We could have stopped, but we did not. It was really good. Oh my God. So yes, that was our Christmas morning. That was what we did on Christmas. We horrified a child. But like I said, he's got that permanent memory of something amazing. Now, we figured at some point in time, they will let the kid will come to the reality that he did not meet it. Like maybe he'll go back in a few years and see the thing again. And that's not real. But oh my God. Oh my God. It's gonna eat you, run! It was, oh my God, we were so bad. So yeah, so that was scary for someone. Like the line environmental changes to get the experience. Well, they've actually totally changed the space, Patrick. No, not Patrick, Drew. The line, it's gone across the way, and it's got its own little thing queue, and it kind of goes around. You do get to see it a little bit beforehand, but as the trees start growing where they've rebuilt everything, it's a lot better experience. Oh my goodness, that story took some time. Okay, so we're in the last 10 minutes. So I will remind everybody to please like this video, this live chat if you haven't already. If you don't know how to like, there's a little thumb up down there. Just click on the thumb up and poof, the numbers will go up, and it helps people find the channel, and hopefully not the annoying people we had earlier. My apologies for them. And it will allow us to let's see, like the channel, like it, subscribe if you haven't already, but I'm pretty sure most of you guys have subscribed, so thank you for that. Hit the bell notification if you haven't already, and that lets you know if you haven't seen my stuff in Facebook. You'll know when I am starting, and you will be able to find my stuff. And if you can or would like to contribute to the Help Me Buy a GoPro fund, there's PayPal and Ko-fi down below in the links. You do not have to, but if you can, hey, why not? It will get you more content and more interesting content, as I would love to have taken that with me into the Stormalong Bay pool, which is the video coming up next. So I couldn't get nearly as much footage there as I would like to have gotten, simply because I didn't have anything I could take into the water. So just throwing that out there. Now we're going to finish up with this stuff. Let's see, Patrick. Yeah, after some serious therapy. Very much, Terry, after some serious therapy. It was hysterical. The videos around our street afterwards on the way to the next ride, we broke down and Peachy knew how to make. Yeah. It's somewhere in my videos. If I can, on the Teatro page, I'll see if I can reference that video for you guys, like go and pull it up into the memories. But it's still on my personal Facebook page. It's, oh my God, it was evil. You get the recap from then versus the story now are awesome. Oh yeah. I mean, just because I have different memories, and then I went back and watched that and went, oh, so that's the detail of the memory. The line changes I was thinking was the fact that you can see the experience before you get there. Seriously, having always hidden until you get there made it amazing. Yeah, but in all fairness, even when you need to see the new setup. I don't know if you saw it when I did it with. Even when I did it with Lizzie and all them, that was not the final setup. When I went back this June, and I only did a little bit of the line, but if you look at the videos from this June, when I went to Universal, again, apologies for the sound, you will see a little more of me walking up to the line. The trees need to grow, but once the trees grow a little bit more, it's going to be awesome. You kind of twist and turn through, and you don't see it, and it's great. So let me ask you guys this. If you have been to any of the parks, what was your scariest ride? What was your scariest memory of one of the park rides or one of the experiences? Since, ooh, spooky. I think as a child, for me, Haunted Mansion, and that hand still creeps me out. Like I said, it still creeps me out. I'm trying to think some of the other ones they put on there. Someone put Kali River Rapids, not because you're going to get wet, but because of the original poaching story, and that was a little scary for kids. Um, I don't know if it was or wasn't, but that was one they mentioned. I was surprised though when they mentioned Bug's Life, and I went, yeah, that actually is pretty scary. Um, I mean, even really technically, Rise of the Resistance, if you really put yourself into the reality of it, is a little bit scary because, man, those people in the ride stand here. They're not nice, stand there. And they pick on you, but they pick on you when they know you're willing to pick. It's hysterical. Here you go, kid. Here's a fin and a raptor bar. Get lost. Oh, dear God. Yeah, that would be bad. What do we got? Scariest time I've ever spent was on Halloween Horror Nights. Oh God, you did HHN. Okay. And while I was much younger, I felt as if I was in a very scary movie. Yeah. So for those of you who haven't done HHN and Halloween Horror Nights, the big thing about the normal version, not what they did this year, but in a regular time, the big thing was that the entire park, like regular hours, ended about 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and then it switches and you kind of have to leave and come back. I believe there is some, you can pay for a certain ticket that allows you not to have to leave, but regular guests are gone and it's a separate ticketed event, and you get welcomed in, and like they do things like, I think they like The Purge was the movie they were doing at the beginning, welcome, and you're here for the beginning of this year's Purge, and then you go in and they have scare actors. There are hundreds of actors on the street that are bloody or gory, or they've got axes or whatever, that based on the theme in the section. Like they had an 80s designers gone bad. They had like and they had like a Chucky on a stage, the Bride of Chucky, the Chucky doll, who was insulting and scaring people, and picking on them, sort of Beetlejuice-ish. And then you have up to like 12 different haunted houses you can walk through. And they have scare actors in those where you're walking along, someone jumps out at you, or they come chasing after you at stuff. And that's what I was talking about, is if you scream once, it's like, and all of the actors just start picking on the people who scare, because it's fun. You get the reaction. It's like, that's your goal. That's what you want to do. So yeah, you keep going back to those people, and it gets pretty intense. So yeah, that's the fun. Yay. Yeah. Yeah. So I mean, I'm assuming it was the Streetmosphere stuff that you got scared on for that, Drew. Yeah, I know that, like I said, my one friend who loves horror and goes to horror fests and things like that, he loved HHN. And I know a lot of people who really adore it. And even this year would go back into the haunted houses. They are the two they had like 4 and 5 times in a day, and just see what new things they saw or what else they discovered. Yeah, just it's not for me. It's not, Halloween for me is spiritual and it's fun and light, but the bloody, gory, not my style. How we got 2 more. What we got here? Kid is okay until he realizes raptor is a dinosaur, runs away screaming bloody murder. Hey, we've lost her. Terry is going to be on this for a while. Yeah, it was a pretty special memory. All right, so before we finish up here, I am going back again. November 21st and 22nd. I'm going with Randy and Dory to celebrate her successful completion of some stuff she's had to have gotten done. It will be the end of Food and Wine, but because we cannot park hop, we had to pre-pick our parks. And because during Christmas time, I will barely get to see Animal Kingdom, we will be going to Animal Kingdom, and you know where I'm going when we go to Animal Kingdom. But we figured we could do some more laid back time, do Dinosaur, let them do the roller coasters. I don't think they've seen the Avatar stuff, or if they did, it was just out at that point. Do the safari, maybe go to Conservation Station and see, do the drawing class and stuff. The other day we're going to be doing Magic Kingdom because they are big on Haunted Mansion and some other stuff. So those are the two parks we'll be doing. It is also Dapper Day weekend. Now, sadly, our parks don't mesh up. It's Hollywood Studios on Saturday and Magic Kingdom on Sunday for Dapper Days. But I will be doing Magic Kingdom and then Animal Kingdom, so I'm not there. So, but I talked to the D3 Darlings, who you may have seen in my video this week that came out, the Halloween one with Mustard Seed, and they have they said, you know, do your thing. So I am tempted to figure out if there's a nice way for me to dress up, not Mustard Seedy costume, but to do something that's a little more dressy to walk around for that last day. Nomad's Lounge, for those unaware. Yes, we will be doing Nomad's Lounge and getting gluten-free churros. Yes. Send them to the vlogs. Go see what I'm like with my gluten-free churros. I'm sorry, I watched way too many Rugrats. I have kids. Fair enough. No. It's totally cool. It's hysterical, though, to watch the fact that that moment has held on for you, because, yeah, it was kind of a fabulous experience. It really was. So I'm curious, you know, should I just go in my casual shorts and things that I normally travel in? Should I go dressier, do you think? I don't think I want to fly in a dress. I think if I do that, I will end up like having, I would have to change. But what do you think? Magic King dressed up with probably more comfy shoes. I may still do the mustard seed shoes, because I don't think I could do a day in heels in Magic Kingdom. I think I'd kill myself. But what are your thoughts? Do you think I'm crazy? Do you think this will be fun? Yeah. Oh no, I can't tell you yet. There's a surprise for this particular trip, and it is a surprise for one of the people going. So I can't tell you yet. But when the trip is all done, I will share with you the surprise. Hopefully there will be nice vloggy footage and stuff to share. Yeah, the churros are amazing. Pinstripes and flip-flops. I have a flowery dress, and I have I have my mustard seed shoes that are green and slightly more comfy. If that'll work. Yeah, maybe not. But yeah, so if anyone has any other questions for me specifically, let me know. If not, Patrick, I will grab you through alternative means, alternative places, and we can kind of talk through some suggestions. Pinstripes and flip-flops for Dapper. No. Flip-flops? No. I mean, I could wear comfy, flatter shoes. I've got some other shoes. But yeah, those D3 Darlings, God, they were lovely. They were such a hoot. And I'm officially on their page, so I posted the link to them like, oh my God, I remember you. So it was very cool. It was very, very cool. Dapper Days. You can actually look it up online, but it started in Disney. So way back when Disney Park opened, it was an amusement park, but people did not go to amusement parks in leggings and sneakers and whatever that we do now. They dressed up. Nice hats, pretty sunglasses, dresses, men were in suits, and you went on the rides, but you came dressed up. So as an homage to that time, people come dressed up for Dapper Days. So you will see women and a lot of times it goes kind of vintage. Tammy and Mark, if you remember them, who are now off on the far coast, they do it at Disneyland. And they started doing it here at Disney World as well. And it's these groups of people who will pick 1 or 2 days or weekends, certain weekends throughout the year, and come dressed to the nines, sometimes in heels. The ladies are often in like skirts with not pinafores, crinolines underneath them. So they're kind of anywhere from like the 40s to the 60s, early 60s, kind of like very, very pretty, the very pretty 1940s painted makeup, or, all of the, but they're dressed to look beautiful and fancy. And it's a hoot. It's, I love seeing the pictures. And then if you're in the park where they're doing the official gatherings, they have meet and greets where they do big group photos and things like that. It's a lot of fun. And if I had realized that it was Dapper Days when we were organizing, I might have switched some of the stuff around that we were doing. I might have had them do Magic Kingdom by themselves and then done Hollywood Studios with them. And so I could have done the Hollywood Studios Dapper Days, and then we would have done Animal Kingdom together. But it is what it is. I planned first, and I want to give them the stuff that because this trip is not just about me. So it's very fun. Yeah, from Disney. Yeah, and they're still doing it. It's called Dapper Days. And so I will be there, but at the wrong park. So I may get some overflow from it, and I might dress up myself. Oh, it wasn't okay. Petticoats. Yeah, crinolines, but yeah. Your last visit had lovely partners in pinstripes. Oh, you're talking about Larry. Yes. So yeah, Larry had that Jack Skellington suit that he was very happy with, and I mean I could see them getting dressed up for Dapper Days. They maybe they will. I don't know, because they are local, so they may be coming back. So yes, very full, very fun. All right, so we are over time, but that's okay. We're having fun. I'm gonna close up for today. Where would I look up? Go to Google and type in Dapper Days at Disney, and you'll see sites about it. They probably have a Facebook group. I know they have other websites, because that's where I found the dates, was on general, like, Google search. They've been around for long enough. Yeah, and they're going to be doing it on the 21st and 22nd, but it's not going to be Universal. It's going to be Disney, and I think you're already switched parks by then. So that being said, thank you guys so much for coming in. If there are topics you want me to cover next week, because I will probably be doing this in the evening next week. Yeah, I think I will still be able to do this. I may not know what shape I'm in, because I've got an event earlier in the day I've got to take care of. But if there's something you want me to cover, something you want me to chat about, throw that in. Wait, no, definitely. Next week is fine. Next week is fine. It's the weekend after that's the problem. But put in the comments what you would like me to talk about, what you want me to cover. Patrick, if you want me to do a planning session, as like our live chat will be a planning session for you, walking you through the parks, we could do that. You can watch how my brain works as I coordinate this stuff. But either way, I want to thank you guys so much for coming, and we'll look forward to doing this again next weekend. Let's discuss genetic modifications as it applies to hotel management. Okay. Can we very briefly talk about how sad we are that 720 equity performers just got cut this week, permanently fired? That's Streets of New York, the Citizens of Hollywood, the Citizens of Main Street, the Lion King, Finding Nemo, basically all but the performers that are probably already back, and even some of them have been cut. Like, entertainment has been decimated. Equity entertainment has been decimated. And some of the other entertainment has been decimated. The Frozen Ever After, the Frozen live sing-along is there. The band is there, and the people who are doing the current cavalcades, and the Voices of Liberty, Mariachi Cobre, and the Jaminators. I think that's it. And Bob Chapek is still getting his full salary now. They originally took cuts, and I was respectful and grateful and thought that was so cool. And then they took their full salaries back and started firing the people they had on furlough, so they don't have to pay their health insurance anymore. Not happy. No doubt it's hard to deploy the world are losing jobs based on this health situation. Yeah, it is pretty horrible. But yeah. And if they were still, if the powers that be, the people that make the big bucks, were taking cuts or not getting their full salary so that they could keep supporting these people, they're not even getting paychecks. They were just getting health insurance, and to not be able to even do that for them anymore is just mind-boggling. I mean, everyone there was getting, like, they let go all of the people for the Magical Express stuff. They're down to the bare basics, like the airport-y type people. All of that stuff has just been minimized and minimized and minimized, and I'm not happy. I'm not happy about that. Yeah, no, that's ours. Is the world? Yeah. So, all right. Sorry to leave it on a downer. Fun stuff coming next week. Patrick, we will talk some and move on from there, and we'll make plans for more fun and more excitement. Let me know what you want to hear about. And if you are watching this afterwards and you are not subscribed to the channel and you would like to help support me, because I'm trying to get to 1,000 subscribers. If I could do it by the end of this year, that would be amazing. But share these videos. If you see one of the videos that has information that you think would be really cool, that someone else might get information. I'm doing a whole series right now about flying and traveling and being there during this whole post-COVID. I was there in September. Share it along. Let people see it. And we can make some fun stuff happen. And I don't have a tagline.